Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the Apple event is just 8 days away. We'll talk about the iPhone 15 Ultra, Apple Watch Series 9, iOS 17, and more. This is your weekly Apple news update for the week of September 3rd, 2023. And if you want to skip to any part of the video you're interested in, be sure to check out the chapters in the description if you want to jump right to what you want to see. Now this week, Apple introduced a new web page called Apps by Apple. It showcases all of the different apps that are available on iPhone, iPad, macOS, and Apple Watch, and even Apple TV. You can see messages, learn more about it, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro for iPad, and more. If we scroll down, you'll see different things for Mac, iPad, or just all, with phone, messages, FaceTime, mail, and every app they make specifically for all of their devices. I'll link this in the description if you want to check it out, and maybe some of this design will roll into iOS in the future, so I think it looks really nice with all these different cards. Apple is now offering Apple Care Plus a little bit differently if maybe you've had your device repaired recently. Even after the 60-day eligibility period has expired, according to a new review of internal Apple documents by MacRumors, if Apple repairs your device out of warranty, they can then offer Apple Care Plus on the device after that repair if the hardware has been reviewed and sort of inspected by the repairers. The customer has then up to 10 days to decide if they want to activate the warranty for up to 2 years later. So this is a great option. You'll have options in the support app with different things showing Apple Care and more on your device if you want to use that. I think that's a great thing where we can extend that warranty if you need it, especially if you're more accident prone. Now, Apple partnered last year with a company called Globestar to provide service for the new emergency SOS via satellite feature. It seems this might go live in more places soon, as apparently they're partnering with SpaceX to launch those satellites for even more coverage. So they're working with SpaceX to launch the rockets to get those satellites around the world and hopefully available in more places. Apple's been pressed more recently by some advocacy groups to reinstitute its CSAM program, which was originally expected in iOS 16. There was a full document about how everything would work, but Apple later abandoned its CSAM program where it was going to anonymously scan photos using the neural engine and store it on iCloud, and if it found matches to explicit material, it could report it after multiple matches. This was abandoned due to many concerns about privacy and possible exploitation. Apple clarified it this week in a statement shared with Wired. Apple actually said scanning every user's privately stored iCloud data would create new threat vectors for data thieves to find and exploit. Schwander wrote, it would also inject the potential for a slippery slope of unintended consequences. Scanning for one type of content, for instance, opens the door for bulk surveillance and could create a desire to search other encrypted messaging systems across content types. So they abandoned it, they've said why, and previously said nothing about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. It was recently found that Apple will stop providing support on both Twitter and YouTube. On October 1st, Apple will no longer offer support on either platform in the comments or anywhere else. The odd thing is, I don't think anyone knew Apple did this to begin with. So most people just call Apple or maybe go to their support app or go to an Apple store. So let me know if you've ever seen that in the comments below. Now, Apple Vision Pro is expected early next year, but many have stated that it seems Apple developer sessions didn't see as many developers as expected. I believe this is due to people not willing to travel to Apple's headquarters to check it out, or they just didn't have the time, but Apple stated otherwise recently. Apple said that the SDK, or the developer kit, has been downloaded far beyond their expectations. Now, I think this is because people wanted to see what it was like. I tried it out to see what it was like, but I think interest in the headset itself is mediocre at best, depending on who you ask, especially given the $3,500 price tag. Of course, they're working on future versions that could lower that price, but we'll have to see what they offer beyond maybe Oculus or MetaQuest. That's something I haven't seen really yet, but once I try it out, of course, that may change my opinion. Now, today's video sponsor is Anker. I've been using the new Anker Prime chargers on the go for my laptop, camera, iPhone, and more, and the new Anker Prime 27,650 milliamp hour power bank has up to 250 watts of power. It shows you exactly how much power is being sent to your device and allows you to optimize charging on your own schedule through its app. When you want to recharge the power bank, you can just set it on an available dock, which can also charge other devices at the same time. Also, if you want to charge on your desk, this is the Anker Prime 240 watt desktop charger. The Anker Prime lineup features Active Shield 2.0 to help monitor temperature when charging and keep the devices from getting too hot. Be sure to check them out in the description if you want to see all of the other Anker Prime chargers as well. Now, as far as deals this week, there's a few things worth mentioning. AirPods Pro 2 are down to $199, sold by Apple on Amazon. The same is true with AirPods 3. They're down to $149. Now, with future updates, this may change a little bit with the case switching to USB-C. We'll talk about that more in the future, but this may be an opportunity to get them for a reduced price before they update the case. Now, also, we have the 15-inch MacBook Air. That's actually $200 off for certain configurations, and also the iPad Air 5th Gen is $100 off. I'll link those in the description below if you want to check them out. Now, many have been asking about iOS 17 this week. We're already at Beta 8. Many people are asking, will we see a Beta 9? I think that's highly unlikely, but we could see a release candidate as soon as tomorrow. I tend to think that's going to be after the event on the 12th. And that's typically what Apple does. We'll have the Apple event on the 12th, a release candidate then, and then an announcement when the final version is, which is usually the following Monday or the 18th. Could be the 19th or something else, but that's usually what Apple does. We don't know this for sure, but we have seen Apple announce that the actual update's coming out the day after the event as well. So we'll know this week. If we get a Beta 9 this week, that'll be unusual. Or if we get a release candidate this week, we could see the final release as soon as the 13th, something along those lines. But I think they'll keep to last year's schedule where we'll see it on the 18th most likely. But either way, we expect iOS 17, iPadOS 17, Apple Watch should get updated to watchOS 10, but macOS will probably be delayed until October. That's usually what they've been doing lately, so we could expect that. We could also expect iOS 16.7 RC this week. The reason I say that is last year, Apple released iOS 15.7 RC on September 8th. Based off of this week, having that date in it, I would expect that this week, maybe early next, but usually we'll get an RC and a final release probably the next week. That's usually what Apple does with the last version of the previous operating system, the last major update. Then we'll have security updates after that. But I wouldn't expect any major features with that, mostly just bug fixes, and hopefully a bug fix for that green screen issue people are having with iOS 16.6. That's been a major thing. Let me know if I should cover that in a separate video below. Now, with the Apple event being just 8 days away, we of course expect what we've already talked about. iPhone 15 models, Apple Watch Series 9, Apple Watch Ultra 2, and maybe some updates to AirPods. I would not expect any other updates, at least at this event. Maybe we'll have another one in October with Macs and iPads. But either way, that's what I would expect from that event. And of course, you can watch that online at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the 12th. You can watch it on Apple.com, Apple TV, or you can watch it on YouTube usually, and maybe some other places as well. Now, as far as the Apple Watch this year with the Series 9, we've got some news about that regarding the stainless steel model in particular. According to Mark Gurman in his Weekend Power On newsletter, he says that the Apple Watch Series 9, the stainless steel model in particular, will be 3D printed. Apple may be testing this feature out where they 3D print the material instead of actually milling it and using a lot of material and then having to recycle more and more. It may be a more efficient and cost-effective way to make the stainless steel model. So they could be doing that this year. We're seeing more companies do that. Koenigsegg did that a long time ago with titanium turbos on their cars. So we could see more things 3D printed if it's cost effective and fast enough for production. So we could see that this year with this, maybe some components for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 as well. But either way, it'll be great to see what that looks like. Now with the iPhone 15 this year, Majin Buu on X this week said that he thought there would be an iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, and 15 Pro Max. And these are just model representations of what they would be like. I've shown these many times before, but the other thing Majin Buu said is there's two separate devices that could be the 15 Ultra. However, this was cleared up pretty quickly by Mark Gurman, who said there are only 4 models total this year. Again, the 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, and it's still up in the air whether or not it's going to be 15 Pro Max or 15 Ultra. But either way, the top model is expected to get a bump in price as well. According to DigiTimes, they've actually said we could see a major price hike on the 15 Pro Max model. Now, we've heard a little bit of this before, but maybe it's more than 200, maybe it's 500. Based on having that periscope zoom camera and maybe some other changes, we could see a major price increase. So I'm sure many people will still pick it up, but it definitely could be more this year. Over the past couple of weeks, we've heard more and more about what to expect as far as the colors of the iPhone 15 models, and we're seeing more concrete evidence about what they'll actually be. Recently, new models were posted on X from Sonny Dixon showing what the colors are expected to be. These models are not the real ones, but showcase the colors themselves, and as you can see, they're what we expected, very muted pastel tones. For the regular models, we have a black color, a light green, more of a silver or white, light pink, and light blue. So a little lighter than last year's models, where we have a little bit deeper blue or darker, less exciting blue. We'd have more of a pastel blue this time around. The same is true for the models of the Pro models as well. So we have what seems to be the blue color looks very close to this blue that we have with Pacific Blue on the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. We also have Titan Gray, a Space Black, and then also a Silver. So this gives us an idea. The shades may change a little bit, but that's the general overall look of the colors for the next models. Most people put a case on it, so I don't think it matters as much, but let me know which color you're planning to pick up in the comments below. We also recently had a leak of what we expect to be the stock wallpaper for the next iPhone. According to William on X, this is what the stock wallpaper could look like. Mac Rumors made a concept of what these would look like on the new devices, and then Shrimp Apple Pro further showed what this could look like in a simple sketch, and then Chandler B posted a concept of the box and what it could look like. So we're getting close to revealing exactly what Apple's planning. Hopefully they have a different wallpaper though, as I'm not a big fan of it. Now, many have been wanting larger batteries on their phone or just longer battery life in general on iPhone for some time. 9to5Mac actually posted what they believe to be the upcoming battery capacities expected for each new iPhone 15 model. With the iPhone 15, they expect 3,877 milliamp hours, or an 18% increase. With the 15 Plus, a 13% increase at 4,912 milliamp hours. Then the iPhone 15 Pro could see 3,650 milliamp hours, up to 14% increase, and then a 12% increase in the Pro Max at 4,852 milliamp hours. So the Plus and Pro Max sizes could get almost 5,000 milliamp hours. I think that would be welcome, with the 3nm chips making up less space or taking up less space inside the iPhone. We could have more room for a larger battery, and maybe they're even better than our expectations. We'll have to wait and see. Apple's upcoming cases this year are said to get rid of leather altogether. I talked about this last week a bit, but now we have more information where it may not be vegan leather, but instead be sort of a cloth called fine woven. There's been different information about this from different people, and it could be very similar to what we have with the Pixel cases, where it's sort of a cloth texture. Now, not everyone's going to like this texture, but Apple's very big on textures of devices and cases, so it could change a little bit. Now, there's 10 different cases that are expected according to some of the leaks. This is a recent tweet by Kosutami, or recent on X, and there's 10 cases, like I said, and they're expected in black, mulberry, taupe, evergreen, Pacific blue, wisteria, antique white, butter yellow, orange, and pink. The outside also has sort of a rubber or silicone bezel. However, I really hope it's not silicone, as those seem to tear fairly easily. Duan Rui also posted what appears to be actual pictures of the cases, and it shows the name Fine Woven. Also, Majin Buu shows what the woven case could look like without the logo on it. So lots of changes expected there. I don't expect the price to drop though, even though it's cloth. Maybe it's more expensive to make. We don't really know. Now, we're already hearing about iPhone 16, and the reason for that is Apple works 3 years in advance, typically, maybe more, on the next iPhones. With the iPhone 16 Ultra, we're expecting it maybe to have major upgrades with the camera. This is according to someone with a proven track record on Weibo, and they're saying that the cameras could adopt what Apple has with the Vision Pro, where it can actually take sort of spatial photos and spatial video. This is something we could see very soon in the next generation to sort of complement that Apple Vision Pro. It definitely seems like something Apple could do with an upgrade to the camera. Also, iPhone 16 could feature a new display type using a new micro lens technology to make their already bright OLED displays even brighter, and also help maintain that brightness without overheating and using more power. According to the Elec, Apple has been offered this technology by both display providers, LG and Samsung, but is weighing other downsides to the tech as well. So that's something I would welcome. When you're in bright sunlight, it's very hard to see, especially after a little while, because it pulls that brightness down. So that's something I would definitely welcome. Now, as I mentioned before, we're expecting some changes with AirPods cases. According to Mark Gurman again this week, he said there will not be new AirPods, but rather just cases that have USB-C. So instead of just updating them, we would have AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C cases. Now, this is a reason sort of to go out and buy the Lightning cases if you don't care about that, as we'll have a reduced price, but also we won't see anything new with features. I would love to see more of those new iOS 17 features on new AirPods with AirPods 4 or something else, maybe AirPods Max 2. But either way, it looks like we're only going to get case updates unless there's a bit of a surprise. The next generation iPad is already in the works, and this time around, it's recently been rumored to have up to 4 terabytes of storage for the Pro model. Now, this is questionable, and according to YUEX1122 on the Korean Naver blog. But if Apple intends you to edit video and replace your MacBook with it, then it's definitely possible using Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro, using huge files to edit video. Last week, we heard from Mark Gurman that Apple is planning an all-new Magic Keyboard as well. That's something I'm looking forward to. I think the Magic Keyboard is great, but definitely could use some upgrades. One of the things he mentioned is that it could have a larger trackpad. This week, though, in his Power On newsletter, he said that it could have not just a larger trackpad, but an aluminum frame like we have on a MacBook, making it even closer to a MacBook. But instead, it would still have sort of a silicone cover for the outside. So that's great, but it could also cost more. Currently, it's about $350 for the 12.9-inch model. If this is a $400 keyboard, I'm not sure many people would be happy about that and may opt for a MacBook instead. So we'll have to see what they do there, but so far it's super expensive already, and adding more price to that cost just seems a little absurd. But either way, I would love to have one that's aluminum. Hopefully it's still lightweight as well, or maybe even titanium. But again, it would cost more. Apple is also apparently very close to developing a 14-inch iPad Pro this year and then decided to scrap it. This is again, according to Mark Gurman, where they were going to have a 14-inch iPad or larger iPads and then decided to get rid of it altogether, and there's no hints at maybe having it in the future. I personally would welcome a huge one just to maybe have as a desktop, maybe even 27 inches where it's touchscreen and then could come off and be a big drawing tablet. But that's something maybe we'll never see. At this point, I would love a bigger one, but let me know what you think about that in the comments below. So far, nothing about the Mini or Air or regular iPad yet, but we could see upgrades to that soon as well. So that's everything this week with all the news and more. I'm looking forward to next Tuesday with that Apple event, of course, just to see what Apple's really going to offer, all of the new features, and hopefully some surprises as well. Of course, iOS 17 is close to being finished, and iOS 17.1 could offer that journaling app and more, so I'm looking forward to those betas as well. Let me know if you're planning to pick up an iPhone and what color and what you think about the colors I showed earlier. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.